All right, we are live, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Lake County. I'm your host, David Rich. I have a very special and recurring guest, Sammie Tercero. Hello, Sammie.
Hi, David.
So Sammie's been on a couple times before. We talked about what we're going to talk about tonight, which is organic gardening or gardening in general. Tis the season. It's just kicked off technically, officially. Usually people wait till after Mother's Day. And good thing this year because the weather's been a bit odd. It was cold yesterday, we didn't have a frost, but I had to wear a jacket, which is lame. But last week or like a week and a half ago, we did have a frost. Yeah. I was ready to go and tell people like, yeah, go ahead and start planting. And then I'm like, hey, hold on a second, frost warning. Don't plant anything. And so, driving by the nurseries, you see all the plants were covered up. In a lot of places they had to haul everything back into the greenhouses. I worked at a greenhouse once, my first year working there, and we had to do that. And hauling everything back in the greenhouses for a day just to take it back out the next day. What a drag. Anyway, Here we are. So we should be in the clear now. Go ahead and start planting. So yeah, and Sammie's big into gardening. She loves gardening, and so that's why I have her on the show so we can talk about this stuff. So just to kick it off, organic gardening is different than like conventional or traditional gardening. In that it by definition, you don't use synthetic anything. You don't use synthetic fertilizers, weed killers, anything like that. Everything is supposed to be au naturel, free of all those things. I'll put it in. It's a rather according to the USDA, it's a rather rigorous and strict definition and set of parameters. For example, if you're a farmer who is involved in traditional farming using all those sorts of fertilizers and stuff, and you want to turn organic, it's tough because you have to let your land be untouched for 3 years so that all the toxic stuff can seep out. 3 years. So like a lot of farmers don't do it because how are they supposed to make any money? Some of them are clever and they kind of sanction off 1/4 of their farm fields and they'll leave that untouched and do the other 3. And then the next year section that off and that kind of thing. But that obviously takes a lot longer because your whole thing isn't just 3 years long. Now you're talking 12 years. But there are ways around it. And we'll see if the USDA actually lowers their regulations or, makes them a little less strict. I mean, 3 years is a long time. You also have to make sure that none of your surrounding farmer friends, their synthetic fertilizer are blowing over to your. So you have to put up barriers and stuff. It's tough. It really is tough. The problem is that we went wrong when we started allowing for this crap back in probably after World War II. Is when all the synthetic chemicals were Monsanto, which is like, the definition of real life example of like an evil corporation. They're the ones that make Roundup, which is literally killing people. That's when all that stuff started. That's where we went wrong because it did increase the amount of yield for sure. It does. It's providing food for a lot more people and the population grew. I get it. It wasn't without logic or reason. It just wasn't the best idea. There are better ways to have gone about it. Anyway, do you want to comment on any of my little rant there?
Definitely. You said that. I think it's interesting because I guess you always learn something new every day, learning that they have to really sanction off their area because if anything that blows. So let's say there's that whole thing with the Monsanto trial. Yeah. I don't know how to say it. But if let's say his tomatoes or whatever grew in your garden, those are technically his. So it doesn't matter that you're growing your own, you're still taking credit for his genetically modified whatever it is, fruit or vegetable, and the seepage too. So when you're watering these plants, all of those fertilizers and stuff are, they have chance to run off into your garden and potentially make it not organic too. So to have those restrictions is definitely probably really tricky for organic gardeners.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very delicate situation there. Very, very fragile. Like you were saying, too, Monsanto also goes around and sues farmers if they sell their seeds to one farmer and a couple of the seeds blow over into another farm field. They can actually sue the other farm field for growing their crops. This whole mad scientist ownership of genetics is weird stuff. Yeah. I own life. No, you don't.
Yeah. I think it's really cool that we had that technology to make a tomato that doesn't grow seeds or have a cucumber that grows in whatever type of weather or reception. But I don't know. I think it's such a cool technology, but the thing is like, getting carried away with it and the mass production of it and not knowing the genetic side effects of it either.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's 100%. I agree 100%. Like it is cool. Like I love
okay, David,
scientific human innovation. What's that? Go ahead.
Yeah. A little sidetrack, but I didn't want to forget. What's your dream garden aesthetic? Like if you had all the land in the world, what would you grow?
Oh, it look like Willy Wonka's chocolate
factory. Like mine is like a cottage garden. That's my goal right now.
Yeah, no, it look like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but with flowers instead of chocolate. In fact, when I very first started, when I was going through the horticulture program at CLC, I grew my first garden and I called it my Willy Wonka garden because I just went for like color and animation and character everywhere. It was pretty cool. I didn't succeed in everything. I grew like, what's it called? Gem corn with all the different colors and stuff. That totally failed. But the other stuff was good. So yeah, no, I have like, I like color and cartoony stuff and animation. That's what makes the world fun for me. So that's what I would do. What was yours?
Mine was a cottage garden. Oh, yeah. So like to have like a bunch of like random flowers that grow back every year and that, it doesn't necessarily like need to be in like an order. It kind of just grows wherever like, my tulips will grow. And then when the tulips die, something else will grow over it, like that catmint and things of that aesthetic. So I feel like that's always really cool because you're like supporting nature by, giving bees and butterflies like all of like their nutrients by like multiple types of plants. And then, getting to like throw in a vegetable in the mix too is kind of fun.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, you hinted at something more than hinted at something like, the value of diversity and plurality in nature. You ever notice that nature grows like everything, like just fine? Like, and we have like monoculture crops and stuff like that, where we grow like, 500 acres dedicated to like just soybeans, or just wheat, stuff like that. That's why actually you see nowadays, you see like 1 year you'll see soybeans, and next year in the same exact field you'll see wheat because they have to switch it back and forth. Because what happens is like any given plant or crop is going to deplete XYZ nutrients for its own benefit. Okay, that's what it does. But not every plant excretes or uses the same nutrients as other plants do. So like X, Y, and Z nutrients in the soil that soybean will use will be depleted the next year. It won't be as much, right? So in order to avoid putting more like fertilizers and synthetic fertilizers in the ground, they plant wheat, which takes like, say, I don't know, QST. I don't even know if I got my alphabet right there. But you know what I'm saying? Nutrients away so that X, Y, and Z can come back, right? So that the next year they can use it and they kind of go back and forth. It'd be better if they did like, instead of just one every other year, they did like 4 or 5 every year. Like, like one this year, and then 5, and then 5 years later, you go back to the first one or something like that. That'd be even better. But that's not what the market demands right now. Soybeans and wheat are like and corn are like the biggest things in this country, if not the world. Yeah. So that, you need them, you're not going to get anything without wheat or soybeans or corn. So we'll see. It's a slow going process, turning the country green again, and we'll see what happens. This administration doesn't think any of it's worthwhile. But we'll see how it goes. So tell me about your garden this year. What are you doing?
Ooh, I have a little bit of everything. I just went to a nursery and I picked up a few annuals, and usually I'm all about perennials because they grow back every year and I'm like working towards like a magnificent cottage garden. But I did end up picking some annuals. So I got a Lolita, moss rose, and a coleus. I don't know, but the coleus, they almost look like clovers. They're really pretty. They get really big, almost like a hosta or fern. So I'm excited to plant them. I'm still going to do some veggies, which is funny because I plant all these veggies and fruits every year and I like don't eat them. I just, the birds like them, and whenever squirrels in my garden like really enjoy them. I don't have time to eat them or wash them, but I'm going to try to be better with that.
That's kind of you to the critters, the animals got to eat too. But that's tough too, as far as like protecting your veggies from critters around, for people who do eat their vegetables. Yeah. I have a client who they had an area with a couple bushes, 3 bushes, and I just yanked those out and made a vegetable garden out of the area. And the first year I had a doozy of a time with the critters, like really hard time keeping them away. So like I got frustrated and smarter the next year, and I put like chicken wire, like metal wire fencing around it, like which is I don't like doing that because it's just not attractive. It looks bleh,
Yeah.
but if you want to eat, you want your tomatoes and your beans and cucumbers, that's what you got to do. So they were fine with it. So that's what happened. Yeah, it was so yeah, no, I get you. It's like my mom's stuff is like they're raised beds, but they're still pretty close to the ground. And she has a tough time with the critters too. And I told her, I'm like, you need to put like some sort of like actual physical barrier. And she doesn't want to do it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But you can freeze a lot of the vegetables, folks. Yeah, like the tomatoes, you can freeze tomatoes and use them later. Like the Roma tomatoes that I grow for my mom. Well, I get them for her. She grows them. We freeze them. We're an Italian family, and these are like the best tomatoes for sauce. And I'll tell you what, I grew up on an authentic Italian food my entire life. Okay, but most of the stuff was store bought. That's fine. The first time I actually used homegrown tomatoes that I picked from our garden and made it into an Italian sauce, the very first bite, I remember I was just like, wow, you can really tell the difference. It was so noticeably better.
Mm-hmm.
Either.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Growing, peppers. I know our signal's a little funny today, but like even growing peppers, like they're like hotter than any of the peppers that I grow. They're hotter than the peppers you pick at the store, and that's why I don't know. It's weird to say that I don't eat them because I do eat them. I try them out. I'm like, hey, like it's very satisfying to watch something grow from like a seed or like a little like piece of grass in the ground to watch it grow. It is.
It's like, you think of like really oak trees and huge trees and everything. Yeah, they start from little itty bitty seeds. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I was just saying it's like really satisfying to like watch them grow. I like really take comfort in enjoying that. And then when the bird comes and eats my strawberries, I'm like, all right, like it's fine. I get it. Like I'm not gonna fight the bird over it. But keeping it protected was something I thought about like when I first started gardening, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get like a whole strawberry field. Like I'm gonna pick 30 strawberries and make pies and cupcakes and whatever. That did not end up happening because I don't have that much land. So that's why I just tied it into the beginning, like what would be like your like dream garden, or like if you had all the space in the world, like how would you grow it and format it? Like, I think that's really cool. But I'll definitely try and be better about eating everything now that I have my own compost turner. So I've been doing my own compost right now. Definitely had some struggles growing this year, which is like the clay soil. It's really hard in Illinois. So to like clay soil, do you know what clay soil is? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Maybe not everybody knows, but so basically when it's clay, so it's very like, think of like a vase or something, like the soil, it gets really, really hard and dry, and it's hard for roots and other plants to grow in the area. So that's been a struggle with, my vegetable garden. So I turned to like garden bed growing because it's easier for me to like till that soil versus like me growing in the straight up hard cracked earth. It's definitely tricky. And just like supporting the natural like plants like in my backyard. Like I have these wild berries that we're growing. I'm gonna try to eat them because they look like they're good. Like I'm gonna forage in my own backyard.
Yeah, for sure.
But just the process, like these berries grow like every year bigger and bigger and bigger, and they spread like it's a lot to kind of like, if you've neglected your garden or like your own like natural area, like things can just like grow out of nowhere, and it's hard to control once like it hasn't been touched in years or like mowed. So I've been picking out all these berry vines, and they're very thorny, but they grow the most beautiful flowers and like really yummy berries. Like they're equivalent to like a wild raspberry. So it's delicious and interesting, but also very dangerous pulling out those weeds.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the thorny plants for sure. They're like roses. Like no matter what, I always have to use gloves nowadays to deal with roses. Like no matter where I put my finger, I always end up hurting myself.
Poked. I've done 3 gloves, still getting poked, and I'm like, how is this even possible?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I need a metal mitten.
Yeah, exactly, like chainmail or something from medieval times.
Right. By that time, it'll be a whole workout. It'll be like a night in my garden. Like,
So you mentioned like raised beds garden. Raised beds are, I think, probably the best way to go nowadays, because at least around here, because you said like the soil is just so pervaded with clay. You can grow in the ground, and you probably have some success. I'm sure. I'm not, I'm not saying you can't do it or nothing good will happen. But raised, you have 100% control over the soil and the amendments in a raised bed. That's what's so cool. You can buy, there are places around here that just have like amazing compost, organic compost. Country Bumpkin I use their compost every year, and the stuff is just magic. It is just so potent and warm, and it's all organic. You get good topsoil and that kind of thing, because also like you control the amount of space that you give to your roots. When I was going through the curriculum, like there was one professional organic gardener, Elliot something, I don't remember his last name. He thought you wanted like 16 inches of soil. Now that's a lot. I would that's a lot. That's because the longer your roots grow and the healthier they become, that the bigger output you're going to get from your plants. And he's not wrong. But that's a lot. I would say 10 to 12 inches and you're good. Maybe if you want to, a little bit higher, that's fine. And raised beds are easy to make. You can go to Home Depot and get 2x4s, and you can just put them, and you get like they're like these cement, blocks, I guess, but they have like areas in like four sides where you can just slide the 2x4s in there, get 4 of those, and then you're done. Like it's so super easy, and then you can just start throwing soil and compost in there. It's really easy stuff. If anybody wants to hire me to do it, it'll take like a half an hour. Like it's super after I get all the stuff. It's super easy.
I think holding in moisture too, like.
Mm-hmm. You're blocked. I can't hear you.
Oh. Are you still there?
Yeah. I can hear you now, but your visual is frozen.
I know.
Okay, hear you.
Okay.
Man,
just poor reception today.
Oh, I see. I had that problem with my show yesterday. Like everybody's screens just
sorry, I cut out a little bit, but I'm sure I'll tune in later.
You're good. What did you say?
Yeah, I definitely was sad. I didn't get to hear the. Oh, just that like people get like there's this misconception that like you have like it's good to compost, but people get carried away with composting. Like they want to like put it on absolutely everything, and like a little bit goes a long way. So like you want to keep your plants protected with your topsoil and mulch, and then just keeping it watered and moist. There, like you don't have to like because for this, and it's just utilizing the little like dead weeds like in your area. Like if you're weeding, you can always use some of those. There's some of them that you don't want to lay out in your garden because then you're going to start to grow weeds, but there's some that are recyclable, like like dandelions, some parts of the plant, not all of it. But
yeah, no, that's a good point. Compost is really intense stuff, so you don't need a lot. You're absolutely correct. Like it takes 2 years from beginning to finish to really, after you're turning it and everything else, to get a solid, usable compost. If they use whether you use cow manure or horse manure, like don't ever use like horse manure from the first year that it was extracted from the horses, because it's way too much nitrogen. You're gonna fry your roots. You wait a couple of years, and then it kind of decomposes into like good quality compost. And compost is, you got to pay to and you can't put anything, don't put like meats and stuff and dairy in compost piles, folks. Okay. You're going to get maggots that way. Okay. You put vegetable brown and green, look it up. Compost, brown and green. There's an actual ratio that's involved depending on how you design your compost pile. And you got to turn it because it gets hot. Like the internal temperature is supposed to be like 160 degrees.
And critters, they're going to be like, yummy chicken bones.
Yeah. Don't put chicken bones in there. So very cool. So like Alexandra Keating Sofiakis is watching. Hello, Alexandria. And she is saying that her favorite plant is the Japanese eggplant. Okay, so I didn't know that Japanese eggplants existed. I grew up Italian, so I don't know what eggplants we were using. But if there's an Italian version, I have no clue. But that's cool. Their flowers are beautiful. There's a lot of plants, Japanese plants. The Japanese elm is gorgeous, and there's another. What was it called? They sell them at Country Bumpkin. Oh, I can't remember. It's a Japanese something that's absolutely beautiful. There's a lot going on there, for sure. Are you a big eggplant fan, Sammie? You're frozen again.
Oh, I know, but I can hear you. You're cutting in and out, but yes, I know.
I'm cutting in and out too. What's going on here? Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, I was just saying that one of the watchers loves Japanese eggplants, which is very cool. I've never grown eggplants. Not a huge fan. I grew up, we had eggplant parmesan and stuff, but never really got into eggplant much more than that. So very cool. Yeah, they are. Well, first of all, eggplants are beautiful because they're purple, and whenever nature makes anything purple, I'm a fan because purple is a cool color because it reminds me of Prince. So, the musician. Sammy, you there? Samalama? Can you hear me? Oh, Sammy.
I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it's not your fault, not my fault. I don't
know. Some video clearance now. Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Well, then let's just go down a quick list because we're obviously having some difficulty with connections. Let's go down a quick list of
business.
Good things to grow in this area.
Good things to grow in this area.
Tomatoes, green peppers, any kind of peppers.
Peppers, love this Midwest area.
Peppers, yep, cucumbers, squash does really well. Pumpkins, watermelon. I think what some people did, like when I first started the horticulture program, what I didn't know, I didn't know a lot of what I was taught, but is that there are fruit trees you can grow here besides apple trees, because everything's just like an apple tree area, and it's not true because of the winter. And you have proven this. What else have you grown besides apples?
I have grown definitely, like I said, it's been a journey this year already, starting with the clay soil, just trying to find plants that are like really tolerant of this type of soil, like amongst me, like amending my soil and like, adding compost and whatever else I naturally have in my yard, like all that like extra free, good, nitrogenous yard waste. It's been really helpful in my garden. This year, I definitely got into a fight with my old apple tree. So I'm going to replant a new type of apple tree, and I'm going to try and grow a cherry tree because the blossoms on it are so gorgeous, like almost as gorgeous as a magnolia tree. But if I can, reap some fruit out of it, it'll be really exciting. But yeah, you can grow like a fig tree. You can grow olive trees in this area. The thing is, I haven't grown any because I know olives come out very like with like a vigorous experience of like, how olives are made, right? Like they have to be pickled.
The green ones, yeah,
would be a process. I can grow an olive tree, but yeah, so to pickle them, that would be a lot of extra work.
Yeah, no, there's all sorts of stuff you can grow, beets and whatever else, and pickles and gherkins and stuff, and you could pickle them, but like jarring and pickling and canning, that's a huge process. I would love, if I had more time in my life, I would totally do it, but I don't. So, so that's how that goes. Well, okay, we're having some technical difficulties here, so why don't we call it, and maybe we can get you back on another couple of weeks or something and talk about some more stuff. Cool. Yes. Are you there? Sammy? Samalama? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so you just froze for like 40 seconds.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was saying we're having some technical difficulties here. Why don't we just go ahead and call it?
Definitely fight this.
We can finish this conversation next week or the week after. We got plenty of time.
Yeah,
the gardening season is just getting started. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Like it happened yesterday. I don't know if it's like all four of our screens, like one time, everything just shut down. I'm like, what's going on? It's really weird. So anyway, okay. Well, thank you so much, Sammy, for coming on. Enjoy your catmint. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, absolutely.
I will. I'm going to start planting right now, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's nice out. Today's a good day to get out. I did a bunch of stuff for my client today. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Lake County. I'm your host, David Rich. Till next time, keep talking. Hold on, Sam.